Elon Musk worked 120-hour weeks, and it almost broke him. Not because of the hours, but because of how those hours were structured. If you try to copy the workload without understanding the system behind it, you won't become more productive. You'll burn out faster than you expect. It doesn't happen all at once. It builds quietly. You feel productive, busy, even disciplined. But underneath that, your focus starts slipping. Your decisions get heavier. Your output slowly declines, even though you're putting in more time. So the real question isn't, how does Elon Musk work so much? It's this: how does he sustain that level of output without collapsing? Because once you understand that, you stop chasing more hours and start removing what's quietly limiting you. What Musk learned the hard way is that high performance isn't about effort. It's about managing limits. No matter how driven you are, your output is capped by a few bottlenecks you're probably not paying attention to. 4 determine almost everything. The first is cognitive energy. This is how clearly you think and focus. The second is time structure, how your day actually runs, not how you plan it. The third is decision load, how many choices your brain is processing. And the fourth is recovery, how well you reset before the next cycle. Burnout doesn't happen when all 4 collapse at once. It starts when one slips and the others begin compensating. Focus drops, so decisions get worse. Decisions get worse, so time becomes inefficient. Time becomes inefficient, so you compensate with more hours. That's how the cycle builds. And once it starts, everything feels harder, even though you're doing more. That's exactly what happened in 2018 during the Model 3 crisis, where Musk pushed himself to the limit. 120-hour weeks, sleeping on the factory floor, barely leaving the building. From the outside, it looked like discipline, commitment, obsession. Internally, something else was happening. His mental clarity was declining. His decision volume was exploding. Recovery was almost non-existent. At first, you don't notice it. You push through it. Tell yourself you're locked in, but eventually your thinking slows. Small decisions take longer. Mistakes slip in. Problems feel more challenging than they should. Eventually, it catches up. Musk later called it one of the most painful periods of his career. That moment reveals something people misunderstand. More hours don't create more output. They distort it. When energy drops and decisions degrade, you're not producing more. You're spending lower quality work across more time. People see the workload and copy the surface. They inherit the breakdown. He didn't fix it by working less. He fixed it by redesigning the structure. What changed next wasn't obvious. It wasn't about slowing down. It was about protecting cognitive energy, because performance isn't just effort, it's mental clarity. Musk now prioritizes about 6 hours of sleep, not to relax, but to protect performance. Your output is limited by how clearly you can think, and clarity isn't something you can force. You can stay awake longer, push through fatigue, keep moving, but you can't make your brain operate at a high level when it's running on low reserves. He said it directly. Less sleep might give you more hours, but you get less done. That's a trade most people miss. They sacrifice sleep to gain time and lose the ability to think clearly inside it. What looks like discipline is often inefficiency. When mental clarity drops, focus fragments. Reaction time slows. Priorities blur. You spend more time deciding, correcting, and fixing what shouldn't have been broken in the first place. So even though you're working more, your effective output declines. It feels productive, but it isn't. And when clarity declines, structure matters even more. Most people try to copy Musk's 5-minute time blocks. That's not the advantage. The advantage is this: his time isn't open to interpretation. Every block has a purpose. Every action has a place. That removes friction before it appears. When your time isn't defined, you hesitate. Switch tasks too often. Spend energy deciding what to do next instead of just doing it. Those small delays compound. Minutes disappear. Context resets constantly. Momentum fractures. Transitions are expensive. Every switch forces your brain to rebuild context. That costs energy. Reduce unnecessary switching, and you don't just save time, you preserve clarity. Now those limits begin working together instead of fighting each other. But even with clean structure, you'll hit a ceiling. And that's how extreme hours stop becoming chaos and start becoming controlled output. Because there's another limiter quietly shaping your output. This is called cognitive bandwidth, where every decision costs energy. Musk doesn't try to do everything. He can't. He focuses on the decisions only he can make and pushes the rest outward. Every choice carries weight. What to work on, how to respond, what's good enough. Small individually, but draining collectively. Most don't notice it. They just feel slower, less decisive, mentally fatigued, and assume they need more discipline. They don't. They're overloaded. Too many decisions mean constant resets, especially if you're capable, because the more you can do, the more you take on. You don't avoid delegating because you're weak. You avoid it because you can do it. And that's what quietly caps your growth. Your time fills. Your decisions max out. There's no room left for higher level thinking. Growth stalls. You don't scale by doing more. You scale by removing yourself from what doesn't require you. Otherwise, you become the bottleneck. And once that happens, growth starts pushing back, because growth without recovery isn't expansion, it's depletion. And this is the constraint most high achievers try to outrun: recovery. Musk still trains, still moves, still resets, not as a break from work, but as a part of the structure. Recovery isn't the opposite of productivity. It's what allows it to continue. The instinct is to treat recovery as something you earn. But by the time you feel like you need it, you're already operating at a deficit. Recovery isn't reactive. It's preventative. It stabilizes energy, keeps decisions sharp, protects time structure. Without it, clarity declines, judgment narrows. You push when you should reset, and gradually everything destabilizes. That's where burnout begins. Not when you're overwhelmed, but when your system can't recover fast enough to support demand. That's the difference between working 120 hours and surviving it. Even if you engineer this correctly, there's still something uncomfortable. Even with these systems, Musk still came close to burnout. That matters. No structure makes you immune. Not discipline, not intelligence, not success. But the right architecture lets you see it forming. When focus slips, when decisions feel more challenging, when effort stops matching output, instead of pushing harder, you adjust. That's the difference. Most react after collapse. High performers adjust before it. That's how someone can operate at extreme levels without letting those levels destroy them. The takeaway isn't work 100+ hours a week. It's this: high performance isn't built on effort. It's built on structure. Structure protects your clarity, your time, your decisions, and makes recovery part of the process. So instead of asking, how can I do more? Ask, what's limiting my output right now? Because once you see that, you stop chasing more hours and start building something sustainable. It's not the hours that break you. It's the way those hours are engineered. Even if you build all of that, something can still disrupt it. Not all at once, but in small, barely noticeable moments. A reaction you didn't think through, a distraction that pulls you sideways, a rush decision that compounds. They stack, they fracture structure, erode clarity, undo progress. It's the pattern that keeps pulling you back into stress and overreaction. And if you don't see it, you can't correct it. But even the best system falls apart if you're constantly reacting instead of responding. And that's what I break down in this next video. I'll see you there.